Are you a mission worker? Are you afraid of being seen? Are you afraid of showing up as your true, authentic self? Afraid of what other people might think? Nice to meet you. I am there with you. And when I first realized that I had a mission to help people, I knew back in 2020 when I started truly waking up, I was in my very conspiracy theory phase where I was running around prepping and getting propane, and I have water, and I was a big prepper. I bought a bug out truck. I had a go bag. I bought gold and silver, and I just was ready for the world to end. As you know, as one should be when all you hear on the news is doom and gloom. So I had a truck, I had a car, I was living in a 3-bedroom, low-income apartment with my kids, and I had been there for a couple of years, and we were sandwiched between the first and the third floor. So we were the second floor, and it was loud. People were not clean. People didn't pick up after their dogs. It was really overpriced for the amount of money that we were spending for the lack of privacy that we had. And I had just been praying that we could find a house. And in 2023, a house showed up that was exactly everything that I had wanted. It had a 2-car garage. It was on 2.5 acres. It was 3 bedrooms. It had a living room, a dining room, and then it had this other little separate space that had its own little entrance. And I had been wanting a space to do my sound healing work that had a private entrance, and this did. So if you walked through that room, you'd go down a little corridor down into this little sunroom that I have off the back of my house that was an addition, who knows when, but it's a weird little room, but it worked well for sound healing. And so I worked my business out of my home for about 3 years. And the message I kept getting, the message that Spirit kept sharing with me is, you need to reach more people. I would see the clicks on my website. I would see that people were looking for sound healing, but I was in a residential place. I was kind of a little bit out of the city. I was up in the mountains, so when it snows, I get a lot of snow at my house. And so I kept hearing, you need to have a commercial space. You need to go out there where people can find you. And I was like, I don't even know how I could make that work because I just don't have enough business. And then I was sent in November of 2024 a client who found me on Google, and she came to see me, and it was an immediate connection. We hit it off right away. That was in November. By January, she had said, let's bring a harmonic egg to the community. And I was like, yes, let's bring a harmonic egg, because I had heard about the harmonic egg about 3 years prior. And when I looked into it, I saw that one was already coming to the area about 50 miles away. And I felt defeated, and I thought, oh, somebody's already got one, so I can't. So fast forward 3 years or 3.5 years, and a friend of mine is saying, let's go into business and bring one of these. And I'm all for it. I've been cleaning houses for 8.5 years. My kids are getting to the point where they're able to take better care of themselves and transport themselves around. They're very self-sufficient. They can cook for themselves. So I thought if I had an opportunity to have a different job, we would be able to work something around it. So I knew that eventually I wanted to get out of cleaning also because I knew my son would be turning 18. I wanted to have something where I could bring in enough income once I lost that child support that it wasn't going to hinder our quality of life. So fast forward March 2025, we are in the midst of trying to figure out our business plan, and we're making calls and we're reading books and we're doing everything. We've got our corporation formed, and my business partner says to me, I have been called to go a different direction. And it was shocking a little bit because I thought, well, I don't want to do this without her. And it was this huge test from the divine. I felt like in that moment, I was given an opportunity to proceed forward or to shrink back and stay small and stay comfortable with what I knew. I can clean really, really well, and I would get paid on a daily basis. But also in my heart, I knew that I needed to help people, more people. Spirit kept saying, more. Do you know how magical you are? And I'm like, me, magical? Okay. So I was shown that day her crouched down on the floor. This is in my mind's eye. Her crouched down on the floor and saying, get the cookie jar. And I climbed up on her back and I grabbed the cookie jar and I was like, come on, I got it. And like, I was planning on sharing the cookie jar with all of my friends. Like, I would never just get the cookie jar and then keep it all to myself. So when Spirit put this opportunity in my hands and I was able to finance it by myself through my own funding of a retirement plan that I started for myself back in my 20s, probably my higher self, knowing you're going to need this someday. I don't know. That's maybe how it works. So I invested, I made a down payment on my egg. I got really clear with my business plan on what I wanted my space like and where I wanted to be. And I ended up on the road that connects both of the streets that were written in my business plan. I had always wanted to help people with their emotional traumas, with their childhood traumas, because I know in this particular collective of people, we are the underdogs. We are the ones that come from a lot of trauma. We signed up for the hard lessons. So many have lost their parents, a sibling, multiple siblings. Many have had near-death experiences. Many of them have recovered from drug and alcohol or are still using drugs and alcohol. Many have come from lack and overcome that by grinding their entire lives and they're exhausted, or they've stayed on a perpetual wheel of lack and just grind daily and they're exhausted. These are the people that come to me. I see a lot of the people that come to me are people who have been naturally gifted their entire lives and they've been told that it's not acceptable, or that they're weird, or they're crazy. And then there are those of the collective that are like me, who have been highly empathetic our entire lives, but we've shrunk. We've become our people pleaser, doormat, zero boundaries, zero value, and we just absorbed. And then I realized through all of my trial and error, the more I healed myself, the more I was able to hold boundaries in place with people easily. Because when I went on a self-love journey, I used all the affirmations and the subliminals and started reprogramming my subconscious mind. I started learning about how the subconscious mind is actually just a program in us, and that we can reprogram ourselves. So I did a ton of work to first love myself. And then I had to start reprogramming other areas of my life, like the financial part, the way that I was in relationships with others, the way that I showed up for myself. I used to be, this is my paint glass, but I used to be someone who only could pour from an empty cup. Empty cup. And I started filling my own cup, and now my cup flows over and I can share, because energetically I am complete. So I am super excited to start sharing ways that I overcame all of that programming and empowered myself, turned all those things into a superpower. We can turn our sensitivities into our superpower. The day that I chose myself to make a down payment on my egg is the day that I decided for myself that I deserve more. That I deserve to have a life that I love. I deserve to be able to take a vacation with my kids and my mom. And I have been playing in this program of lack my entire life, and my guides finally said, enough is enough. It's enough. Get out there, jump through your fear. And when I did, they said, great. Now go share your voice. And I'm like, oh. So I started a TikTok. I started a YouTube channel. And I had been sharing my voice on Instagram with filters. And I still had that. And then I started a podcast, because I love podcasts. The whole 9 years that I was cleaning, I was soaking up information from other trailblazers that had gone before me. And every time I needed information, I would get information in the podcasts that I listened to. My next steps of information on how I should proceed. So recently, my algorithm has said, okay, you've done all the things we've asked you to do. Now, are you really going to get serious? And I was like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? And they said, share how you did it. Share your journey. Share your story. You guys, there's so many people who are out there teaching the law of attraction, and they're teaching hermetic principles, and they're teaching manifestation. But there's so many nuances and levels to the game, and I don't know if I will help you or not. All I know is every single time Spirit tells me what to do, I have to experiment. I have to try it to see if it's true. And then every time I do, I'm caught. So when I started a TikTok channel and I had a video that went up to 156K without my mug in it. And to me, that was saying, okay, people resonate with my voice. People resonate with my frequency. No hashtags, no nothing, just my voice. I read the comments. I got the feedback. And to me, it wasn't about how many people saw it and how many likes it got and how many followers I picked up. It was more about data. Your voice is helping people. Your doodles help people. The way you describe things helps people. The way you speak is calming. Okay, thank you, Spirit. And then I did this other video that got a lot of views, and I thought, oh, that's data too. That's your Gen Xers, your Earth Angels. You're awake, and you're waking up to the system. That's more data. And so it's like Spirit just says, okay, these are the people you're here to serve. I'm here to serve you guys. I am not a gatekeeper. I am a master of none, except for maybe dowsing. I'm really good at dowsing and finding people's stuff. Spirit has said my hands, my transmissions are powerful. I mean, that's a weird thing to say, but every time I get a message and I follow through, I get new information saying, yay, thanks for listening. So I think the best way to describe the journey, well, there's multiple ways to describe it. One I've used before is when you are at the public pool and you're playing in the little kiddie pool, and it's kind of warm and cozy. It's not very deep. You don't really have to think about it. You can just splash around. It's not a lot of work to sit in the kiddie pool, but you're sitting in there probably with a lot of pee-pee. So your friends, they're like over at the big pool, and they're like, hey, you want to come over to the big pool? Come over to the big pool. You're like, maybe. You might go sit on the ledge. And then someone is in the pool and they're like, come on down. Come on. I got you. Jump in. I got you. And you jump in. It's cold. But you're like, hey, this is fun. And you can kind of touch the bottom, but you kind of got to swim. And then you're splashing around, you're having a good time, and your friends are like, hey, check out this diving board down here. So you go, oh, that looks really scary. You start on the lower diving board. You jump in, your little splashes, and you swim over the side. You do the little diving board for a while, and then your friends are going to challenge you, and they're going to say, okay, come and try this high dive. I can picture this swimming pool with my mind's eye of where I grew up. And when you went on the high dive, it was freaking scary. And if you did it wrong, you were going to hurt yourself. But we did it. So then you might do that multiple times. But then your friends are like, hey, we're going to the beach and there's an ocean. And you think, what's the ocean? I don't know. I haven't done that before. And they're like, oh, it's fun. It's huge. It's limitless. It's massive. All the oceans connect. You can go so big. Come to the ocean. And so you go over and you're at the ocean and you start to play on the beach. You're like, oh, this is cool. This is cool. And you turn your back to the wave and you get like the smack and you get the tumble. You get the tumble. And you have two options at that point. You can run back to the swimming pool, run back to the kiddie pool, run back to the little diving board, run back to the big diving board, or you can face that wave head on. And you can say, okay, I saw you. I mean, I didn't catch you that time. I didn't see you. I turned my back. But now I see you. And I'm going to face you head on. And that wave, as it's coming in, depending on where you're at, you can boop, go over it or go through it. But what happens when you get to the other side of the wave? The waves are not hurting you because they're breaking closer to the shore. When you're out in the deep waters, sometimes it's way smoother of a ride than when you're playing on the shoreline, where all the waves are breaking. And if you are somebody who is in that kind of in-between timelines of, you know that there's more on the other side, but you're playing on the shoreline and you're getting hit by the waves, sometimes the only way through is through. So I'm going to leave it there. I love it. 22:22 on the timer. And I am so grateful you guys are here. Stick around. I'm going to see what else Spirit has for me to share. I'm not going to come on here with my monkey mind and try and make it happen. Spirit will lead me. Spirit knows the way. I love you guys.